Hello viewers, welcome back. And just before the break, the question was what sort of help are there for first-time buyers? And after speaking to our financial advisor here, Mr. Moin Tanjib, he's advising that you can start off with something like 5% deposit, and there's various different schemes, government-backed schemes available. Now, it's covered that. My other question, Mr. Moin, is what advice would you give for a first-time buyer for enhancing their chances of getting that mortgage?
Sure.
Whether it was for 5% deposit or 10% deposit, how can we better their chances of obtaining that mortgage?
Sure, that's a good question. I mean, make yourself look as presentable as you can. I mean, what it means is for a bank, they're investing in your livelihood, if you like. If you want to buy a house, obviously this is something emotionally attached to you, but for them it's business.
Yes,
right?
of course.
So make yourself as presentable as possible. Make your case strong. So how you can do that? Improve your credit scoring.
Credit scoring, okay.
So, and how you can improve your credit scoring is it's not just so much of scoring. Improve your overall credit rating, if you like. There are ways to do that. For example, make sure where you live, you are on the electoral register in that address.
Okay,
so if you live in a particular house right now, whether you are living with your parents, family, or you are renting somewhere, make sure, however short time for that is, if you make an application from the address, make sure you are on electoral register.
Okay, being on the electoral register is
That's
important.
It, yeah.
Okay.
So that would improve your credit rating. I mean, I have seen a lot of applicants, because they think we are buying a house and we've been living there for sort of like last 12 to 24 months. They're not bothered, especially young people. They're not even bothered to vote these days, isn't it? Let alone being on the. Not everybody is like that, of course, but it's important to stay, on the electoral.
Can I just add something to that? Viewers, by registering onto the electoral roll, doesn't really mean you have to go out there and vote. It's just that you're registered and your name will come up on the credit rating that you are registered to that address. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, when they are credit searching you, bank doesn't know who you are. They can only see what's on the record or what's on the overall record. So if they can find you somewhere, that's automatically take some point of your credit scoring, doesn't it? Okay. So be there. Make sure if you're struggling to get a mortgage, or if you think that there is something wrong, something might be wrong. If you have changed quite a few addresses in the past, get a credit file and check that all the addresses are there and they are correct.
Okay.
Look for if there is anything wrong. Last week I got a client. He's self-employed, but he's got a good income, if you like. But he's struggling. He's been refused by a bank already, and come to me. What's the problem? He doesn't know. So first thing I asked him is to get me his credit report. Okay. So when I had a look at it, he had a couple of mobile bills that are not actually his.
They're not even his. Okay.
They're not even his. It's his brother. So Mr. M. Rahman. There are lots of Rahmans out there, so we're not mentioning anyone's name here. And his brother's name is also M. Rahman. In our Asian families, same surnames.
Similar, I've got something very similar that happened to me.
Exactly. So it happens a lot. So you'll be surprised. So a couple of mobile bills not here. I challenged him first. How come you didn't declare this to me? And he said, no, it's not mine. He was like swearing. I said, okay. Show me the evidence. So he showed me those contracts, and then I got him to call those credit rating agencies, removed from his file. So look for those mistakes, and a mistake can happen. Credit rating agencies, they do make mistakes. Find them if there is any mistake, rectify them, and by doing that, you get rid of those negatives that you had on your credit file. Don't miss any payment.
Okay. Can I just go back onto that credit file? What it is, I can understand that you can have a credit rating, and that credit rating can be affected by other people that has a similar name to you at the same address, which happens many times to many of our Bengali families. We have many Mr. Miahs and many Mr. Rahmans in one house, and that can affect it. So somebody else's mistake can be on your credit file. So it's very important to obtain your credit file, have a look. If there are mistakes, make that phone call and tell them, the company that is affecting the credit file, that this is not me, you've affected my credit file, can you remove them? And that normally solves the problem. So that's very important. Thank you.
Prepare really, I mean, prepare as best as you can, especially if you are trying to get into the property ladder. If you're buying your first house, prepare as best as you can. Don't miss any payment. So if you have some bills, some loans maybe, don't miss any payment, don't be late, pay on time. I have seen a lot of people, they're really not short of money, it's just they don't have time, or they don't care as much. Do care, because if you want to buy a house, mortgage is not just mortgage is a loan. End of the day, it's a massive loan, and it doesn't just go away within 2 or 5 years. It stays with you 25, 30, however many years. So do take it seriously. Another thing you can do, so, you know, like you mentioned and we talked about, if you're linked with somebody, so maybe a business partner if you are a financial associate, so if you applied for a loan with your brother in the past, or if you've done a business with somebody in the past and you had a business loan or some sort of loan, if your partner defaults and has got into some other financial difficulties, it will affect you. Really? So to make yourself look better or build up your credit rating, if you like, you know, call the agency and just, you know, cut off those links. Just say to them they are not my business partners anymore, because they have run into financial difficulties and you haven't. That probably means that, you know, you have chosen your own path. So, you know, cut off those ties. You know, never withdraw, never borrow from those payday companies.
Payday loans.
It shows weakness in your financial situation. So if you can avoid it, you know, try not to go anywhere near them. Not only they
payday loans does affect your credit rating quite badly.
4,000% interest rate, something like that, isn't it? Something
it's ridiculous,
like that. So stay away, because if, so like after I got a client about 6 months ago. He's got a good job, brother and sister, but he's got a you know, £600 payday loan. He probably he was curious because of the advert and all this, you know, he probably was short of some money. He didn't think much, went in there, got £600, you know, paid for something that he wanted to pay. 6 months later, he wanted to obtain a mortgage. Now, lenders look at it and say, oh, he borrowed from those payday lenders, he might be financially struggling. That affects your credit rating. So don't do all those things. Again, talk to professional advisors. Prepare as, you know, long time ago, you know, as early as you can to buy a house. Don't just go in and buy a house tomorrow.
Straight away,
Prepare 1 year, 2 years before even.
What about, also I understand that people who hasn't got any credit, it's slightly difficult for them to obtain credit. So it's really important that you need to have some form of credit. Because credit is normally given to people who's got a bit of credit. So if you're somebody who's got no loans, no cards, nothing, so you presume that your credit rating is going to be fantastic, but that can also work against you. So it's always important to have that some form of credit, but good credit. When I mean good credit, you know, stay away from the payday loans, and maybe have a small credit card with a bit of credit. Use it, maybe, but make sure it's paid on time, and that will work positively for you.
That's correct.
Is that right?
I always advise my the young people who comes to me for mortgages. I say, go and get yourself a credit card if you don't have one. Spend on it, keep it within your control, and pay before the, you know, or as soon as the bill comes. So don't let any interest accumulates on your.
That's very important as well.
So this is how you build up your credit scoring.
Because that actually proves that you can manage your credit.
That's absolutely correct.
So as you said very rightly so, that the lenders are doing a business transaction with you. For you, maybe the first house is an emotional thing, etc. But for them, it's just a pure business transaction. What they want from you is you're a good payer. and you need to have those evidence in place, and this is one of the way to do it.
That's correct.
Okay, that's brilliant. Sometimes you can advise a bit more on that, but I think we've touched up on that. Is there anything else?
No, it's just going back to your earlier question, really. I mean, what are the helps out there? I mean, there is a scheme that government is planning to introduce next year, spring 2018, really. Under that scheme is called Starter Home Scheme. People aged 23 to 40 who has never owned a house before, it's only available for them, and under that scheme they will sell the house below 20% market value. So you get 20% discount straight away without even living in that property. You know, right to buy, they give certain amount of discount after you know you lived in the property for some time. Under that scheme, you will get 20% discount straight away. So it's just to help young people.
From council houses, or
it's a government scheme. You will
for any house you purchase.
It's called Starter Home Scheme. We don't have all the details, but you know, it's coming. It's not far. It's called Starter Home Scheme. If you are 23 to 40 years old, you never owned a house before, this scheme is for you. So, for example, if you want to buy a house and it costs 100,000, you will get it. Market value is 100,000. You'll get it for 80,000. So that's
viewers, this is very interesting. Spring 2018, there's a new scheme we're looking forward to see coming out by the government, which gives you 20% discount on your purchase. So basically, it's an automatic qualification if you haven't got a house, and if you're a real first-time buyer. What it is, they're giving 20%. So if the house is 100,000, you're getting it for 80,000. That's brilliant, you know. That's something that really, you know, for first-time buyers to keep their eyes open. And does that qualify them straight away, or do they have to still put some sort of deposit?
Well, deposit, you know, my understanding is because it's below 20% market value, it might, like I said, we don't have all the information.
Can I come back to that question if you don't mind? What we're going to do is we're going to go back into break. So viewers, stay tuned. See you after the break.